Can't believe I'm saying this, but there's too much gold in this pan. That's what got out of the pan, which looks horrible until you see what the pan still held on to. Welcome back to my testing grounds. Today's pan, the next revision, I call the Wangle pan. As soon as I left the last video, I went home, started making some changes, and came up with a name. But still waiting on a new name. But I figure the Wangle pan will be kind of a fun spin on what it does, because it has so many angles in it, and also you got to wiggle it to make those angles work and capture the gold. So again, still looking for a name, but you'll probably see different names pop on the pan. Hopefully one sticks, but the name is not important. It's the function, the efficiency, the speed, and based on that last video, I think I can do it. I don't think, when I was showing editing the video or whatever, I don't think I really showed how excited I was after that test, when I was testing for capture for the gold. To be able to just shake a pan, drain out the material, and have all the gold settle in an area that's 3/8 by like 2 inches long, totally changed the direction I was going to go with this pan. And I'll show you why, or the changes I'm making now to move forward. But I was really excited about that. I mean, if I can design this to be able to just shake and put gold in, like say an area like under a 1/2 inch squared every single time, now you can shake for like 20 seconds, scoop out the material, put new material in, shake for 20 seconds, and then pan it out, which makes this a super speed pan. So that is the goal today. I made the tweaks, and I brought some gold, and we're going to do some really good testing. I'm going to start putting timestamps in these videos, so if you just don't want to hear or see the progress, just jump ahead to testing the results and seeing it capture the gold. But for the others that want to see the progress and know that it's not an overnight success, you got to work for it. I figured that's why I'm going to show you each revision in the direction I go, and hopefully it inspires you if you're trying to work on something to keep going and improve your product. So let me get everything set up a little better, and then I'll show you what the changes I made. I brought a little of each pan. Here's the first pan to show the progress I made, and then I'll show you the changes I made since then. I'm really kind of excited about. But as you saw in the first pan, this flat bottom, originally Paul came to me and asked, hey, I want a type of mat inside the pan because I believe it'll be easier and faster, and I agreed at that moment to do it. And so I went with a bigger mat, but I had problems getting the material out because of the angle and all the water was leaving. And again, I showed you I made a little mini version to always see before I print out the full version, because one of these takes 24 hours and almost $20 a filament. Well, this takes a couple hours and probably like $2 a filament. So that's why I always scale down. Then I came up with the second version where I added more angles. Again, I don't have the full size one. I gave them to Paul to test out more. But I put more of an angling, and I went smaller with the mat, which the mat isn't in here, to help guide the material more and more. And it worked better, but it wasn't enough. So on the third division, I just went all in, had angles coming down here, 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 to a flat pinch point, and then I made the mat really small. You can see on the full size. And then I was still having issues with too much water coming out, so I made this little trap door, and it worked really good. And like I said, if I figure out an exact height, I'll leave this out and then just build like a bridge or an arc around here to always have it set. But one thing I did not like, as I mentioned, I got it to all go into this one channel. But at the beginning of the panning, if you notice, when I'm getting the heavy rocks and materials and stuff out, when it's tipped at this angle, I noticed this in person and on the video playback that these top riffles were exposed. So if I'm tipped in like this, dipping down, water's rushing in to grab the material and out, that means that can grab that gold and rip that gold out. So I needed to correct that, but I also want to try, like I said, to try to get all the gold just by shaking side to side to get to one spot. And here's the next revision. I actually maxed out the printer. This is actually a true 12 by 12 pan. That was more 11.5. I was able to get it, tweaked a few things, but now it's hard to see. But that X is the lowest point of that pan. I actually put like a 3 or 4 degree angle back this way. So as it comes down, hits here, now the material has to work its way back to this point. hopefully allowing most of this material to come out before you start working it and getting it out to the mat. So that's the plan. I want to see if I can get 90% of the gold to wind up right on that X. X marks the spot, just like on a treasure map. That's where I want all my gold to go. I also added this, and I may go a little more. And the reason I did that is if this was smooth like this, and I mentioned this in the last video, when you have a heavy piece of black sand, a heavy piece of gold bouncing against each other, there's no winner. You need gravity, the gold needs to beat it. So my theory is, as this is shaking back and forth here, it's tripping up the material, forcing the gold to have a chance to get down, even if it's a split second, and then the black sand to pop out. And I believe once the gold gets down to the base here, as long as you don't go shaking like a madman, it'll just work its way down while the black sands are kicking out. That's why I have an edge here and an edge here to help keep that from twisting. I also mentioned I wanted to add a magnet to the back here, but then I realized, when you're shaking side to side, the black sand's over here, not here. It'll be here when you're trying to get it out, but during the process, it's more here. So what I did, I added these 2 holes, and then I created this. It's a rare earth magnet with a little stopper. I don't know if I can do this one-handed, but that goes in there. It's got a little resistance. Now that's super magnetic, as you'll see. It might be too strong. We'll find out. And then, when I'm done, I pull it out, and now that can release the black sands. So it's pretty cool, the stuff you can add. I don't know if I'm going a little crazy with this because it's so easy to model and then print. But what I'm also thinking, since I have a lot of real estate up here, I get the name, the Wangle Pan, and I have this for structural, but I can actually put cup holders here too. So you can have a beverage. I know Jason from the Flower Gold Wizard loves his PBRs, but I'm sure you guys all have your favorites. So if you're looking at, you got some good gold you're looking at, you have a little drink, you're having a bad day, you can set this actually up in the water, and then your beverage will be down sitting through here, and it'll be touching the cold water, keeping it cool. So it'll be like a little tray for drinks. I don't think I've ever seen a gold pan have a 2 cup holders for beverages, but we'll see. So tell me if that's just getting out of hand. I mean, it'd be a nothing thing to add to this. So I thought that'd be kind of funny. But like I said, I got some good gold today. I believe this is over 1 gram. And the goal is I want to test this again. And I want the gold to work its way to that X. Alright, the water's mucked up a little. Moving around. Here's the material. I got a big tray just in case I miss any of this. There's a lot of gold. I don't want to lose it. Took me a while to get this. So here we go. Let's see how this works. If that's all of it. I don't know if this is better in the sun or shade, but you could probably see the gold. Imagine getting a pan like that. That's what we all dream of. So let's try this. Get that gold working right to that center. I'm going to go about 15 seconds or so. Because I know there's gold in here, I want to make sure it gets down there. And then spin it. This is future editing me interrupting your regularly scheduled programming for this important message. I saw something happening with this, and I'm watching it back in the playback, so I'm cutting in at this moment of the video that maybe from this point on, you'll see what was happening. Make sure your video is in HD and view it full screen. YouTube has been kind of a bastard trying to lower the quality for a default setting, so you may not be seeing this in high definition like you should. But basically what I found, once I got down to this nasty pink sand, I mean, this stuff is next level. But this would do the same thing with heavy black sands or even clay. Is these angles, which worked great in the first video because I just happened to grab lighter material, more normal. The gold worked right down and was able to get through it. But with this heavier stuff, this stuff packs. And when you have an angle pushing the material with gravity, down here, it gets tighter. So as I was shaking this side to side, I literally saw the gold just riding on top, smiling back at me. And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. And it was getting frustrating. The more I shook it, didn't do anything. I just literally saw the center moving back and forth with the gold sitting on it. It wasn't stratifying. I've had that happen with round pans too. With a thicker material, it just goes back. And then with that clay, and you got to get in here and bust it up. Or if you're lucky and have some rocks bouncing around, that rock's agitated and works through it. So what I was thinking is some type of fingering cones coming up here, because riffles would be too much. But if I do that, then now it gets in the way for cleanups. And, you know, if I do a classifier. And speaking of a classifier, what I came up with, and I'll have to do this later in testing, I want to make a classifier for this anyways. So I'll have a drop-down classifier, put your material in, shake it, empty the rocks out, but then you put the classifier back in, which isn't a big deal because this is one of the most comfortable pans to hold on to. So to grab onto that classifier on top here wouldn't be a big deal. But that classifier is going to have like shark fins or fingers hanging down from it. So as the material is sliding back and forth, it's creating chaos and, you know, turbulence, which is what I need up top here. Because even if these features are working great on the bottom, up here it's not doing crap. And then maybe have an opening here so I can still work some of the material out till probably just about on this layer or an inch or so. Then pull the classifier out, and now these features kick in and start working at that material. So I just figured I'd jump in, let you know. I see an issue. I'm already 3 steps ahead. I'll probably do more testing behind the scenes, and then in a future video, you'll probably see what I come up with. So let's get back to that programming. Again, make sure full screen, high definition, and maybe you'll start seeing what I'm talking about. But I'm already on it. Like I said, these pans do that too, but because of the angles, which helps me in one scenario, is actually hurting me now. So I need to work on that. So let's get back to the video. Just making sure the gold's dropping, which it's hard to see. There is mica in here, so that is a lot of garnet. It is getting thick now. I swear, sometimes garnet is worse than black sand when you got a ton of it. I don't know. Let's see. This might not be a success. I'm not liking when I'm not. I thought I was shaking it hard enough, but it looks like the gold's just not dropping through it. Like I said, this isn't all going to be wins, but let's just see. Alright, I think it's time to start using the sluice. Weirdly, there's not a lot of black sand in this. It's not sticking to the magnet. Actually, I guess it is. It's just not much. Can't believe I'm saying this, but there's too much gold in this pan. It's really hard to get it to stay where you want it, because it's fighting each other now. I'm just gonna try something. Like I said, there's too much gold. It's on. I don't know if you can see that. It's at the bottom, but it's fighting each other, and because the groove isn't deep enough, it's actually sliding out this way and over, and I actually got to make the groove deeper. So I want to try using the side. Use it more like our. There you go. You can still use this like a regular round pan using the sides. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. That is a ton of gold. Like I said, it's too much. If there was just a few flakes, this would have worked good, but there's just way too much gold. I mean, I don't think in the history of mankind somebody's got one pan with one shovel like that. Alright, so I'm going to finish this up in the round pan. It's just fighting. But you can see the gold worked right down where I wanted it. It needs to be deeper, a lot deeper. And I'm almost positive some pieces got out here, but let's see what got out. Talk about garnet. That's solid garnet. This, like I said, this can be worse than black sand sometimes. It's real slow to slowly work out. Oops, see a piece right there. There's definitely pieces in here. I did see them go out the mat. Like I said, the features on the bottom, I didn't plan on having a gram of gold sitting there. I guess I get a little ambitious. I don't know if you can see that. See the gold poking out right there? That's what I'm talking about. When it's side to side, it wants to push out to the side. So if I'm not careful with that and dip down, that could pull out. So that's why we tap it and swish it back in. Trying to prevent that. Alright, let me just see if I can do a quick reveal. This is going to take forever to work down. Stuff is thick. Definitely, it is gold. Actually, I tell you, even though that looks bad, if you can see this. Oh, my fingers are wet. They're not going to let it zoom here. You see the pieces? I mean, that's a big piece, but based on what I'm seeing in the other pan and this, maybe that's 3, maybe 5%. So I just caught 95% of that in that pan, despite it overloading it with too much gold, which is, I mean, I wish we all had that problem. So it's not the result I wanted, but it's actually not that bad of a result. So let's conclude. And I really wanted to get 100% capture rate on that test, just again to show you, get you out of the shade. That's what got out of the pan, which looks horrible until you see what the pan still held on to. I'm kind of regretting taking that nice clean gold I had that took forever to get down and all the cons out and just mixing it with this nasty pink garnet. I swear to God, this couldn't be worse than black sand. At some point I want to start selling my own pay dirt, and I'm going to put it like a pink monster pay dirt bag. This is next level. So a really good result. And it was tough getting the material out of here. That is one thing I do need to work on. I don't like the fact I have to keep resorting to an old pan to do the final cleanup. So I gotta get creative on some other features. I gotta go a little more. I mean, obviously this was an extreme test, and kind of bit me in the ass. It was too much. It actually filled all this full of gold, and then it started just washing on top of each other right out the mat. And I got to get a little more aggressive with the mat. So, actually, it is a success. I don't know. You just kind of hype yourself up. Oh, I'm going to get 100%, like, with no effort. But to be on my revision, actually, technically, I should sort this out. I am actually on revision 5 for pans. But I've only printed out 4. I'm actually on 5.1. The last pan you saw was revision 5. I made some other revisions, but I never printed them, and I decided not to go that route. But I kept saving it just in case I changed my mind and went back. So I am technically at revision 5.1, and from now on it'll just be like 5.2, 5.3 as I dial it in. So a good result. Like I said, this is going to be it's going to be an ongoing progress. Once I get a little better tuned, I'm going to print some more for Paul. I'm going to give the file to Scott from 802 Outdoor Adventures. He's getting quite a printing arsenal going up there, so I can just give him the file and he can print it out, and he can test it for me too with those nasty Vermont black sands. So stay tuned. I'm not always going to be showing this stuff. I get other I want to still get out and get more gold, but you'll be seeing more progress clips of this if it's what you like to see. Like I said, I got an uphill battle trying to dethrone a 200-year-old round pan that everyone loves. So many people have tried, and you know, it gets a few fans, but overall it's hard. So I get a huge battle to go, and the only way I'm going to do it is super efficient and super fast. I need to make one of the fastest pans ever created. So, and I love challenges. I actually love it more than getting gold. So let me know what you think. Comment below. I'm trying. It's not an easy process. If any of you have tried this stuff, it's tough. So let me know if you maybe see something like I could add. Maybe you learn something with your equipment that if I added to this, it might work. Like I said, it's easy. I can add any features, cup holders. I mean, I can do crazy stuff. If I'm going to 3D print it, why not go for the moon, right? So I will see you on the next video. I probably won't be this. It'll probably just be getting some gold to replenish my my stash. So get out there and enjoy nature. Winter will be here before we know it, unfortunately. So make the summer count.